All right, what's up, folks? What's up, family? Thank you so much for tuning in to this special episode of the TH4 TV. TH4 stands for Chill Out Forever. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. Shout out to my beautiful, healthy model right there. Speaking of which, please introduce yourself to the wonderful people.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sinclair Walker, aka the Health Nerd.
Health Nerd.
I'm a nerd about health, as you will very much learn.
You will see it, but it's ridiculous. I came out, I was like, what do you do? She's like, I'm preparing. I was like, all right, do your thing.
It's going to be fun. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. So hopefully if you are here because you already know that we have a free 4-week intermittent fasting plan for the free available right now. You can head to Instagram and go to my page, the THEEE Health Nerd. And I have it in the link in my bio. You can also head to playblackwallstreet.com.
Yep.
You can also head to truehealthforever.com.
So many options. Honestly, just go to playblackwallstreet.com, buy it from there. Very straightforward. We'll drop a link after this is live. That way you know exactly where to go. Playblackwallstreet.com, intermittent fasting plan. Right now it is $0, but it will only be $0 for a limited time. Really up to the boss.
Yeah, for a limited time, during this quarantine, some people, just need a little bit of something to help them out. So I wanted to offer it for free, but it is for a limited time. So if you're even having an inkling that you might just curious about what's in it, just download it. You got nothing to lose.
Right.
All right.
So we really wanted to do this to go through what fasting is, some tips, some tricks. I know for me, it was my first time going through fasting when the queen brought it to me. So she had to really walk me through some things and teach me, put me up on game. And we wanted to make sure we can give you all the same opportunity, same stuff as well. So if you haven't bought the plan yet, still stick around, listen. That way afterwards you can go get it. If you have already bought the plan, I see a few folks on here. We appreciate you. Ask questions.
Yes.
So put them inside the comment section. We're going to be I'm going to be asking my questions all throughout, but we want to make sure that you have specific questions. You can get them answered by the health nerd herself. So again, inside the comments, if you're here, go ahead and put the comment, and then Eagle Eyes, aka the health nerd, will be able to see it, and then we'll answer them live as well.
I want to give the caveat, right? I'm not an expert. I've only been doing this. I'm a health nerd again. So I do a lot of researching. I like to find new things, and I test them out on myself. And if it works on myself, and him. And if it works on myself, it works on him, then I bring it to the rest of the world and say, hey, look at what I found. So that's all this is. I'm not an expert. So if there is a question that I don't know the answer to, fear not, because again, I am a health nerd and I will have the answer literally as soon as this video is over. So again, if you have a question that I can't answer, we're going to jot it down and I will do a video to post the answer. Once I research it, once I have an answer, I'll do a video to not only answer your question, but I'm sure there are other people who have the question if you have it. So I'll post a video for the answer if you have a question that we don't get to today.
Sounds good. Okay, so before we get into it, obviously, please make sure you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, TH4 TV. We appreciate all the support. So go ahead and like and subscribe right now so that we can get into it.
You're already there.
So first question for you, Queen, aka the health nerd. I'm gonna hit you with a hard one. You ready?
I'm ready.
What is intermittent fasting?
I don't know.
Well, all right. Well, that's the end of the video.
So intermittent fasting, when you break it down to the two words, so fasting is refraining from something. There are a lot of different types of fasts you can do. You can do a water fast, whatever. But this is going to be fasting from eating. So you are refraining from eating from a certain period of time. Intermittent means for a certain period of time, not continuously. So you're not deciding you're never going to eat again. You're only doing it for a set amount of time that should be determined beforehand. Yeah, so that's all it is that you are refraining from eating for this set amount of time that you've determined beforehand. There are a whole bunch of different methods that we'll get to later. So the amount of time you refrain does matter, and that will get you some different results. But that's really all it is. And so what that kind of does is put your body into what's called the fasted state.
See the air quotes, the fasted
state. I mean, there are a lot of other technical terms you could call it. Everything I'm going to do is all very high level. So it puts your body in the fasted state, which basically means after you eat, right, your body's using all that fuel, it's using all the nutrients and everything to do what it needs to do, and for fuel to literally, just as we're sitting here, if I'm just sitting here, not moving, my body is still using fuel. My body's still it's still doing its thing. All the internal organs, they don't shut off. Right. So your body's using fuel to.
Yeah. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the organs pumping.
Go ahead, stop. No. So your body still needs that fuel. So it's going to use the food while it has it available. But after your food is all digested, it's used everything it can, then it starts to use up your fat. Because what fat is stored up sugar, stored up carbs that have kind of put themselves, again, this is like a comfy place to hide out. I'm gonna hide here for a rainy day. Because back in the way back day, the caveman days, prehistoric times, whatever you want to call them, we were hunter-gatherers, and there were things that were only available certain times of the year. So we'd have certain times we were hunting and we were gathering, and then during the winter months, there really wasn't a whole lot, depending on obviously what part of the earth you're on. But during the winter months, there wasn't a whole lot that we could go out and do. We're trying to stay warm. So during those months, we would not be really eating. So our bodies are meant to have periods of time when we're not
like
eating.
How bears still hibernate. They'll eat all that food, get all that fat, and then they'll just sit in their cave for months, and their body's still able to operate so it would be healthy because it has all that fat.
Precisely. So this happens a lot in nature already. So obviously, we're in 2020 now, and so societal factors definitely play a role into that. So we have food available. Most of us have food available to us at any given time. So that doesn't really lend itself for any type of period when you're not intentionally eating. So that's all you're doing, is you're intentionally saying, I'm withholding myself from eating during this time for these physical benefits or for these spiritual benefits. People fast for a whole bunch of different reasons. And so this is not anything new. This fasting has been around literally since the beginning of time.
Right. So can you, first of all, I appreciate the depth. Like you know me, I like just talking and giving really good information. It seems like you were giving some good depth, and you went all the way to prehistoric caveman time. So I appreciate that research or the whatever you did beforehand. Good job. Can you talk us through how functionally it works? So some people might be visual people and they want to actually see, like, okay, so how is it that you can break down what's my body really doing when I'm fasting or when I'm not fasting, all that stuff. What's gonna be the difference?
I'm glad you asked. So
it was at this moment.
This is what I was doing when he came out and he thought I was crazy. I'm a visual person, so I was really thinking about, like, how can I visualize this process for you all? So I came up with the demonstration. I will be insulin.
Because you're so sweet. No, that's not how it works like that?
Not really.
All right, I'm gonna let the science, you do the science things.
This is going to be our fuel. But carbs, right? When you eat carbs, your body turns carbs.
So what's really in there, just in case someone is just listening? Okay.
This is sugar. So your body, once you eat things like carbs, turns carbs into sugar. So for all intents and purposes for this demonstration, this is going to be our fuel. Okay. You, my friend, are going to be the body.
Hey, that's me. I've been working on it too.
And here's your bucket where you are going to
what?
Fat. You are not fat, babe. That's not what this is. But you are holding the bucket where you are going to collect fat. You're going to store. You're going to store fat in this bucket. Okay.
Did I sign something that said I would be willing to just hold fat during this episode? Right. Oh, it's the ring. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you can't even read these, but my thing says insulin, this says fat, and this is burned fat. Okay, and actually I think you should probably put this down, but it's gonna get a little messy in here. Okay, so fat and burned fat. So your body, when you are eating, or as you're eating, as your food is being digested, your insulin levels increase because insulin is responsible for taking your sugar. So the food that you eat, the carbs that you digest that turn into sugar, insulin's responsibility is to take that and put it into fat. So it's stored into the body. It takes the sugar into your stored fat cells. Okay. And then once it goes there, it stays there. So that's how you get things like whatever fat, everybody has a little bit of fat. There's no person that's 0% fat. So whatever stored fat you have on your body, that is stored there, again, for a rainy day, in case a day when we don't have food. Your body is preparing for a day when we may not have food, because your body doesn't know any difference. So it's gonna store that there, because once your food is used up, once you've used all of your food for fuel, you may have some leftovers, right? So this is like the leftover carbs, if you will. Okay. Does that make sense?
So I just ate a meal.
You just ate a meal.
I just ate a meal. My body will use what it needs right now from that meal.
Correct.
And then the extra stuff, like, after a paycheck, hopefully you have some extra money. Then the insulin takes this extra money or this extra energy and converts it into fat to store in the cell bank account to be used whenever I need that money or fat.
Exactly. Insulin is the person to take your extra paycheck, put it in the bank account for later. Okay. So I'm insulin. Here's our food. Now, a normal diet, when you're eating all throughout the day, I'm taking this food. This is our fuel for one day, and this is the body, right, that you're holding on to, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you might want to stand up for this.
Oh, okay.
But hold it. Okay. So
sit back down.
So
sit back down.
I am going to take the sugar and put it in the stored fat cells. This is breakfast.
This is my breakfast.
Oh, I'm sorry. You are going to be trying to burn the fat, which means you want to take the stored fat and put it into the burned fat bowl. Okay? Go ahead.
There's nothing in there yet.
Breakfast. Let's say we have some pancakes, some eggs, some bacon.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, stop. We got a morning snack. Mid-morning snack.
Morning snack.
Mid-morning snack.
Okay.
I got hungry.
Huh.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
It's lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
It's lunchtime.
I eat lunch. Woohoo!
We having a sandwich, maybe some chips. Okay, go ahead. Afternoon snack. Afternoon snack.
Oh, okay. I'm just getting these meals in. Come on.
And it's dinner time. Come on.
Okay.
It's dinner time.
Dinner.
All right. Steak, potatoes.
Oh, that does sound good.
Go ahead.
Oh, that steak in a minute.
Dessert.
Ooh, dessert.
We got dessert. Oh, peach cobbler.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the day's over.
And I'm asleep.
And you're asleep, and you have a full tin of stored fat. All right?
Mm-hmm. That's one day.
One day.
So accumulate this every week, every month, right? Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna can you pour that in here?
All right. So remember, if y'all have questions about this experiment with Sinclair the Health Nerd, if you have questions about how intermittent fasting works or anything else, put it inside the chat while we're going, and then we will have points where we stop and answer your questions directly, and then we have an open Q&A at the end. So feel free, but continue, quick.
So fasting. I'm gonna, for all intents and purposes, this is gonna be like the 16-8 method, which means you are fasting for 16 hours of the day, eating for 8 hours out of the day. Okay. So basically, you're taking your eating window and shortening it. You're saying from whatever time, this is when I'm eating. So new day, we're fasting today. Go ahead. It's noon. I'm gonna do my breakfast. And okay, it's lunch. Go ahead.
So I'm not fasting.
Okay. This is during your eating window. Stop. Okay, and the day's not over. You still got a couple hours. I'm cool, so I'm gonna take the night off. Insulin's done. I'm over here. You got it. You still got so many hours in the day. You're still working. You're still walking out. Look at that. You're working it off. And you actually had enough time to empty your fat bowl.
Yay!
So hopefully that makes sense to you. But in a nutshell, what I'm trying to get
Nerd.
What I'm trying to illustrate here is that it is very difficult to burn fat when your insulin levels are always up because you're constantly eating. So right when he was trying to dump it and then we were eating again and he had to bring it back down and allow it to refill, that's exactly what your body's kind of doing. It wants to burn that fat, but we continue to eat throughout the day. So it's like, oh, insulin levels are back here. Yep. All right, come on, bring the food.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So what you really want to do is you want to allow insulin to take a night off. Mm. You want to allow insulin to have a break.
Stay home.
Stay home, insulin. We don't need you right now. Okay, so that's kind of what fasting is doing. It is allowing your insulin levels to go back down so that your fat cells can start to deplete themselves, so that it can start getting rid of that excess sugar. Mm-hmm. Because once you want to get rid of that, right? You don't need that excess. We're not in a state right now where we really need that excess fat, because that can lead to other health issues. So does that answer your question?
Does it answer your question? Okay, that's what matters, folks. Let us know if this helped y'all visualize and see how fasting works inside of your body, inside of your cells. Let us know, okay? But you did mention earlier the different methods of intermittent fasting, and I'm wondering different methods and how are they different?
So before I get into that, I do want to talk about, since we talked about insulin. I do want to mention that there are a few groups of people who should not fast.
Okay.
So those people are people who have, I would say, highly active diabetes, people who are taking medication for diabetes, people who have histories of eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia, and people who are pregnant or breastfeeding. So those kind of groups of people should probably stay away from fasting. I'm not a doctor or any type of health professional, but I would definitely ask your doctor before if you have gone to any of those categories, I would probably stay away from fasting. But if you really have any type of pre-existing health conditions or take any type of medication, it might be worth talking to your doctor just to make sure that fasting is something that is going to be good for you.
All right. Doctor.
Yep.
Cool. Now, methods.
So
hit us with it.
There are a couple of different methods. And there are probably methods you can come up with on your own that doesn't even have a name yet. But there are a lot of popular ones that I do just want to kind of touch base on. So the 16-8 method is the one that we practice for most of the time. So that means that you are fasting for 16 hours out of the day and you're eating for 8 hours out of the day. And so what that is helpful for is because sleeping is going into that 16-hour window. So for that 8 hours or hopefully 8 hours that you're getting a night, that's taking 8 hours of that fasting. That's already kind of a fasting period for you. So really, if you just extend that a little bit from the time you wake up, and eating is not the first thing you do in the morning, you're going to continue that fasted state. So for example, right now, we really eat 12 to 8 o'clock. Pretty consistent window we try to stick to.
I feel it's more like a 1 to 9 situation because you still haven't eaten today. Have you eaten today?
I definitely don't. I don't like eating at 9. So that's why I will just shorten my window rather than shift it back personally. That's my personal preference, but those are tips we could probably get into later. So that's the method that we practice. So again, if let's say you finish eating dinner at 8 o'clock, you have, let's say you go to bed at midnight. You have those 4 hours that you're not really fasting. I mean, you are fasting because you're not eating. So you have those 4 hours that you're fasting. You have your 8 hours that you're sleeping, and then you would have 4 additional hours when you wake up that you would just need to refrain from eating in order to hit your 16-hour mark. So 16 hours sounds like a lot.
16? That's the whole day.
Right. It sounds like a lot, but when you break it up like that, it makes it seem much more manageable. So you're already not eating. Hopefully you're not eating all the way up until the point you're going to bed. So those couple of hours that you're getting after your last meal until you go to bed, those count. Plus whatever time you're sleeping, those count. You're not eating. And then again, if you wake up and eating, if you can just refrain for a few more hours, you're extending that fasting window even further, and it is extremely effective. And that's all it is. So again, don't let the 16 number kind of scare you. there's a lot of that where you're not even alive. You're alive. You're not awake and conscious. Okay.
We very much hope that you were alive during this time. For me, something that was interesting when we started fasting was before fasting. I mean, I wasn't really a breakfast person. Like, I love breakfast, but I never really like woke up and was like, cool, let's have some breakfast right now. That didn't really happen. It was like maybe a chewy bar, maybe a little what are those things? Cliff Bar or something, but I never really had a breakfast. So it was interesting to now do fasting, to intentionally now skip breakfast, which it wasn't a huge behavior change for me because already I wasn't used to eating breakfast,
right.
But just the intention of, you know what, I'm fasting today, and I'm intentionally, for my health, for my well-being, for my future, I'm not going to eat anything for this morning. I think it started the day off on a good foot because I already made a good health decision, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so the reason why this method, and this is, again, I'll talk about this in the tips, but this method works for me personally is because my willpower is much higher in the morning. When I wake up and I'm like, let's go, the day, let's get the day started. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm much more likely to do it.
Is that typical or no?
Yes.
It is?
I think it's typical. I've actually heard that on some podcasts. They said most people's willpower is highest in the morning because you don't have outside influence. You don't have distractions.
You should be recharged.
Exactly. You should be recharged. You should have all of your goals and stuff kind of fresh in your brain. And again, you have not been influenced by the world. You haven't seen a McDonald's commercial yet. You haven't gone past driven past all the donut shops and everything on your way to work. So that's why, for me personally, it's much easier for me to skip breakfast than it is to skip dinner.
Okay.
So that is something to keep in mind when you're choosing your eating window, which we'll touch on later. But that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of the 16-8 method.
Cool. 16-8. That's one method.
One method.
Okay. Hit us with another.
So another method is a 24-hour fast. Okay. Now, again, that sounds really daunting.
We just lost 5 viewers. Like 24 hours. What? Please make sure you like and subscribe to this video. All right. Hit us 24 hours.
And I've actually done these first 3 categories we'll cover. I've done. And so basically. That is exactly what it sounds like. So you have a full day where you are not eating, which sounds really rough. But how I did it is I would do it lunchtime to lunchtime. That was the easiest way for me to do it because I'm already skipping breakfast because that's part of the eating window, right? So if you extend it, and actually it would be dinner to dinner. That's what I do, dinner to dinner.
That makes more sense.
Yes. So you're already skipping breakfast. I'm used to that at that point. That's not something, 24-hour fast is probably not, I wouldn't start with that personally.
Negative.
I would go ahead and start with like 12 hours, then maybe move to 14, then to 16, and then you can, go past that. So this is after I was already familiar with the 16-8. So yeah, fasting for 16 hours at that point, easy. So all I had to do is skip one more meal. And so it's like, I'm already used to not doing breakfast. All I have to do is skip lunch and then I can eat dinner. So that was how I did it, and it made it much less daunting. Is I knew that when I was eating dinner, that was going to be my last meal until dinner the next day.
Gotcha.
So that's how personally I was able to make that work.
Okay.
That's 2. Oh, but I do want to say that there are different ways. There are probably 3 different methods that I'm not going to go into detail of right now that you can incorporate a 24-hour fast. So you can incorporate 2 times out of the week, which I think is called the 5-2 method or something like that. So 5 days you're not fasting, 2 days you're fasting. You could do, I think it's called eat, stop, eat or something like that, which is very similar to that. Or you could alternate your days. So maybe 3 days out of the week you're fasting, 4 days you're not. Or you could also just choose 1 day out of the week, like maybe every Tuesday I don't fast. Whatever your little heart desires.
Or every Tuesday you fast.
That's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. Every Tuesday you fast.
Listen, y'all. I got your back. All right? I got your backs. Sinclair told us to fast for 6 days a week.
No.
I got your backs. All right. So that was the 16-8.
Yep.
The 24.
Yep.
Now hit us with the third one that may or may not also be called a number.
It's not.
It's not?
Calorie deficit.
Okay. There we go. Creativity. I see y'all. Fasting world. Okay. Calorie what?
Calorie deficit.
Calorie deficit.
So that just means rather than, and this might be a good starting point if fasting is a little bit intimidating for you. It's basically instead of not eating anything, you're eating a very small amount of calories. Because again, the idea is that you don't want to eat enough to where your insulin levels are going to be spiking all day. But if you eat like I think it's like 500 to 600 calories is like the recommended when eaing
per meal or per day?
Per day.
Okay.
So keep in mind that's like nothing.
Yeah, that what?
Yeah.
Might as well not eat.
Exactly. That's why it's a fasting method. So yeah.
We see the questions. We'll get to y'all in 1 second. We see. Let her finish the thought. Go ahead.
So that's another way is maybe you choose 3 days out of the week where you're only eating like 500 to 600 calories. So again, it's not nothing to brag about or anything like that. It's basic. It is similar to not eating.
So I have a question for that, and I don't know if we answer this later, but for the calorie deficit method, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it better to eat all of those 500 in one sitting, or is it better to sprinkle it all throughout the day? Or does
that is a good question. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to guess based off of our demonstration that it's better to eat that all at one time, because you're only going to spike your insulin levels once throughout the day.
Gotcha.
And then for the rest of the day, they can kind of chill.
Gotcha. So either is fine, but if you were going to say which one you think would be quote unquote better, it would be all at once.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Anything else about calorie deficit method that the folks should know about?
No, I just wanted to kind of explain the deficit part. The deficit means that you are burning more than you were eating. So that's why it's called calorie deficit. So you're for sure, even if you literally sit on the couch and do nothing but binge watch Netflix, you're going to be burning more than 506. 500
you only have to do this once.
Right. That's it.
And then for 3 hours, they'll play. And then Netflix would be like, are you still there? And you'd be like, yes, I am. And that's another like 10, 15 calories.
So just by doing that, you'd be burning more than 500 to 600 calories. So that's why it's called calorie deficits, because pretty much no matter what you do, you're going to create a deficit if you're only eating 500 to 600 calories a day.
Okay, curveball question for you. Still along with, sorry, we're going to get to y'all right after this. I see y'all. I appreciate y'all. What if can you increase your calories if you are now working out more? So let's say you still want to do the calorie deficit model, but you're going to go to the gym once a day or run or whatever it is, and you're burning 1,000, 2,000 calories per day. All right. So if you're burning that many calories, can you now raise this up to like, I can eat 1,000 calories instead of 500?
Good question.
Because you're still calorie deficient.
Right.
You're just putting, like, instead of sitting on the couch, like you're running, like I ran today. So can I eat a little bit more and it still be considered the calorie deficient method of intermittent fasting? So just if you say that 5 times, you'll burn 10, 15 calories alone. Just say intermittent fasting, intermittent fasting, intermittent fasting. Free.
I'm good.
But this curveball question, just off the top of your head, what do you think? Is that still within the calorie deficient realm of fasting? Because
I would think yes.
Cool.
But again, that's probably a follow-up question I have to take to make sure.
Okay.
But I would think, if you are still very much in the calorie deficit manner, but how sustainable is that? I don't know. That's the next question I would ask.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do, I like to play devil's advocate to make sure if anyone's watching and they're like, only 500 calories, I can't do that. And it's like, okay, cool. You can raise it to 1,000 calories, but now you have to work out once a day.
Right.
So I'm just trying to be here to make sure there are no excuses, there are no barriers. Like if you need to eat more than 500, if you can't start the fast right now on eating a chewy bar a day, we got you, but you're gonna need to do some squats. All right.
Yep.
So Eagle Eyes, can you read what the folks are asking or what they're saying?
Is the 16-8 supposed to be sustainable, or I guess for how long should you do it?
Good question.
Should you practice it and stop? We kind of already answered it. All right, thanks, Jesse, for the question. So that completely depends on the person. So I initially, there's
sugar.
There's carbs all over the
sugar.
I initially started it and then stopped, and then kind of I've done it like the idea that I'm going to introduce it every now and then, right? So
intermittently.
Intermittently. There you go. However, I have a Neo, a soror that I've introduced intermittent fasting to, who has been on it for 2 years. And she's like, this is for me. And, it works for me. And I'm like, girl, do it. Get it. That's awesome. So I say it really depends, because honestly, when I first started it, I didn't have an end goal in mind, like, oh, I'm going to do this for a month, or I'm going to do it for however many months. So when I first started it, I did it for like a good 6 months before I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to eating breakfast again. And I think it was just smoothies again that we started. But I did it for a good 6 months, because once I started it, I realized like, oh, this is actually saving me time, money, effort, and it's allowing me to lose weight and maintain. So I kept it going just out of choice. So it is something that you could just practice moving forward. However, your body might kind of start to get used to that. So that's what I started to notice. And that's why I started to dabble into the 24-hour fast. And like, I started to get more curious. Like, I never did.
Who gets a 24-hour fast?
I'm a health nerd. I wanted to see what would happen.
Oh, Lord.
I never went past 24 hours, but actually I did. I went like 26 or something, but never like more than like multiple days. Although mother-in-law did.
Yeah.
Yes. So we actually have a blog on the True Health Forever website. I think it's like intermittent fasting for mothers or something like that. That mother-in-law Sonia wrote up for us. So go check that out if you're interested in learning her experience on fasting for multiple days. I cannot personally attest to that, but she did that for like.
She's done a few. Yeah. I lost track.
Yeah, so that's a good resource we have. But to answer your question, it completely depends on the person. So if you want to try it and maybe once a month, 1 week out of the month, you do intermittent fasting. That's one way you could introduce it. Maybe you do it some specific days out of the week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, you practice fasting. This is kind of where you can kind of play around with it and figure out what's going to work for you. Is it better for me to just start and just keep it going? Is it harder for you to restart it after you stop? Or is it better for you that way? Does it get a little bit harder as you keep going? Maybe you need a break. So I would say take that into account. What type of person are you? Are you a person that needs to just put your foot on the brakes and not let up? Or are you a person that like, oh no, I need kind of a break every now and then? So I would say consider that when you are thinking about how long you would like to fast.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like I'm leaning towards making intermittent fasting, at least the way that we've done it, where we skip breakfast, we'll eat lunch, but lunch is typically like a smoothie or something chill, and then we'll have a nice dinner. I kind of like that as a way of life. And then when we are blessed enough to take vacations and travel, then it's like, all right, cool, we just go live. But when we're like here in the grind, when we're like working, I'm cool with intermittent fasting, like as this lifestyle,
right?
Personally,
and that is kind of I feel like dabbling into it again is kind of like reminding me, like, oh yeah, this was pretty cool. Like, yeah, again, we got a lot going on, so even just the amount of time you save of like not having to worry about or think about breakfast is like, oh, for sure. So yeah, I'm considering the same thing, considering keeping it long term. So
you've already kind of talked to this, and is there another question? I see two folks. Okay. So you already kind of talked to this, but can you kind of just put the hammer on the nail again as far as how do you choose your window of time to actually fast?
Yes.
So yeah, walk us through your method.
So first, it does depend on your method, but this is assuming that you are doing some type of either the 16/8 or something where you are eating throughout the day. If you're doing a 24-hour fast, you don't need an eating window. So if you are doing like the 16/8 or what would it be? Like if you're only fasting for like 14 hours or 12 hours, whatever, how do you decide what time you're going to eat? First thing to consider, I think, is going back to the willpower conversation. Is it going to be easier for you to wake up and not eat, or for you to be not eat at in nighttime, I guess is the question. So for me, it's much easier for me to skip breakfast because, again, my willpower is strong. I can wake up and be like, girl, you good. I'll do my morning workout. I'm like, I feel strong. Again, it's a health decision for the day that makes me feel good about, like, I'm intentionally not eating, even though it's not eating. The intentionality makes me feel good about it. Like, okay, I'm actively doing something for my health today. So for me, that's why my eating window starts at like 11 or 12, or 1 or 2. depending on the day. But again, I don't extend mine personally, so I always try to finish eating by 8, even if I don't eat till 2. But if for you, you're thinking like, you know what, when I wake up, like I need my eggs, avocado toast, whatever you smoothie, I need something right when I wake up. I cannot not eat when I wake up. Then that method probably wouldn't work for you. But what you could try is doing like I think I saw something about 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that, to where your last meal is going to be in the afternoon, and then from 3 p.m. until you go to sleep, you're fine. So I don't know. I could think of like maybe if you're a parent, that might be something that works for you, because maybe you got to go pick up the kids from school, get them, you've got to cook for the family. That might be hard. But
explain the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. again. What is that? This is when you fast. That's when you eat.
That's when you eat.
7 a.m. to 3 p.m. eat.
Yes.
And then after 3 p.m. you're fasting.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So if you got a lot of stuff going on in the nighttime, I don't know if you work in the nighttime, this may be something that's good for you. So there are different types of lifestyles, different types of preferences that would lend to that type of schedule. For me, I very much look forward to dinner every single day. So it's very hard for me to skip a dinner. I can skip a lunch, I can skip a breakfast. Skipping dinner, which again is why my 24-hour fast go from dinner to dinner. So that's why it would not work for me. So that is something to consider first, is what part of the day is it? You should pick the schedule that you will easily stick to, that you are more likely to stick to. So if it's going to be more easier for you to skip breakfast, then you should probably follow a similar schedule as we do and go from lunch to dinner. So go from like 11 to 7 or go from 12 to 8. But again, if you are a person that's like, I need something right when I wake up to get my day going, then that's fine. If you wake up at 7, do 7 to 3. If you need something at 8, do 8 to 4. But then keep in mind that, for the rest of the day, make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're doing whatever you need to do to stay strong during that latter half of the day, when your body and your everything is going to be telling you it's time to eat. You're going to be smelling everybody cooking all the good stuff outside. You're going to be driving past the restaurants. Keep in mind that that's going to be something you have to kind of be strong against if you choose that method.
In your plan, I'm pretty sure the window you're allowed to like write in.
Yes, yeah. I have a little, I leave that space blank because everybody's schedules are different. So choose that eating window that's going to be best for you, and that's when you write it in the calendar in the little white space. You can write it or type it, however. So
I assume it's Monday through Sunday, like the entire week. It's that same window, or are you allowed to be? I mean, allowed is a loose word, but can you be flexible on the weekend, or do you suggest going all the way through Monday through Sunday?
I think that goes back to the personal preference.
Okay.
So I've had, like for me, dibble dabbling is okay. I like the breaks every now and then because it allows me like, okay, Monday, cool, I'm going hard again. Although we tend to fast on the weekends too, it just ends up happening that way. But it's honestly not as much intentional. For me, it's not as intentional on the weekends as it is during the week. But there are some people that they just need to keep it going throughout the whole week. So I really think it kind of depends on the person. But in my plan, it goes Monday to Friday.
Gotcha.
I think. I can't remember if I did Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday. I think it's Monday to Friday. But yeah, you have 2 days of the week that you were not fasting. So that's what the plan says. But again, if you notice maybe the first day, maybe the first week you try it and you're like, man, it was really hard to go back to fasting on Monday, that's probably a good sign that maybe you should just keep it going. Right? If you have trouble, if it's not easy for you to on Monday, like I said, for me, like on Mondays, I'm like, Michelle, let's go. It's Monday. Let's start it again. Beginning of the week, my willpower is high. Good, and it works for me. But if like Monday, you're like, man, I'm hungry again. This is rough. And it's like starting the whole process over again for you. And it's probably best for you to just stick to it the whole month long or however long you're going to do it. Kind of stick with that consistent schedule. So I think it does. Long answer is it depends.
Gotcha. Thank you. Feel free again, if y'all have questions, go ahead and put it inside. Let us know. And obviously like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. Now, for those who have already purchased the plan Or for those that haven't, what are some tips you have? I want specific tips for the plan, but then just general fasting tips to get the best results or to stay the healthiest. Boom, what you got?
Specific tip for the plan is that, especially during these times when your schedule may be able to be a little bit more manipulated easily, is that you work out when you're in the fasted state. That is when, again, your body is using the stored fat for fuel. If you're just sitting around, that's cool. It's still going to use it. Like I said, it still needs fuel to do its basically bodily functions. But if you are working out, you're going to be using even more fuel, which means
so it's like if you're just sitting, it might be like this.
Right. It's going to be using some little sprinkle, right? But if I'm running or something, right, it needs a lot more. So it's using a lot more of that fat. So it's fasting. Strength training is not something like strength training with heavy weights is personally not something that I would really recommend during the fasted state. However, low to moderate intensity workouts are perfectly okay. So that's why in the plan, you will see, I don't recommend any weights when you're during that fasted time, but you will see a lot of like either running and walking. It starts off walking, right? Because you do not, if this is your first time fasting, that first day, you do not want to go out and try to run 3 miles in your fasted state. That's not something you want to do. So that's why even my plan, it starts off with a nice walk. Okay, so you just want to get your body used to, oh wow, okay, we're running on empty, basically. You're purposely running on empty, so that you can use that excess fat. So that's my first tip. My first tip is that you work out during the fasted state, low to moderate activities, so that you can really burn that fuel.
Gotcha. And I know there's gonna be some folks on here again that are like, oh, but I'm trying to get this muscle in. So you talking no weights? Fasting's not for me. So I still use weights. One, I'm used to using weights. 2, I've been fasting for some time now, so I feel like my energy's there.
Yeah.
And I also try to do my weights early in the morning. So I wake up, I'll do my yoga, and then I'll do my weights. When my body, I just woke up, I might still have a little bit of gas in the tank, but I'm not doing weights when it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, right, and I'm still running on E. Right. That's when I'll do maybe some body weight squats, light stuff. I got bands that I've been doing to really stretch the muscles. Distance. Right. And then after I eat my actual meal, then I might do another weight training thing again. So there's still ways that you can build muscle while you're in the fasted state. It's going to be some nice, hopefully lean muscle. You're still going to get a little bit smaller, but you can still build some strength as well.
Yeah, he's been bulking up a little bit, like work. I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so yes, it's either way, whether you were trying to just slim down, whether you're trying to bulk up, like you can achieve those goals, but it'll be, like I said, be in that lean way because you're still gonna be burning that fat either way. So that's my tip for the plan. Okay. My tip for fasting in general is if you are trying to curb your hunger. So, right, especially when you're first starting, you're still gonna feel hungry. Especially, I would say probably that first week, especially, is gonna be the hardest because your body is not used to not eating. It is not used to running on empty. So it's still gonna be your stomach's gonna be growling, your brain, everything is gonna be telling you it's time to eat, girl. Why are you eating? Okay. Or person, boy, man, king, queen. This is my voice talking royalty. To me. I'm talking to you using my voice talking to me. That's what that is. So everything's gonna be telling you that it's time to eat, but you're not going to. So your body is gonna be reminding you, hey, still here, just in case you were wondering. So it's gonna be harder that first week or 2, but that does subside. So I could say, like, at this point, when I wake up, there's not really anything pulling me to the kitchen saying, eat breakfast right now. It's right around the noon time, 11 to 12 is when I start to get hungry because that's when I normally eat at this point. I
feel like we usually get hungry when we're not doing anything either. That's right. Like when we're in the grind, when we're doing stuff, like I don't even think about eating. And then when that's done, like after this video, I'm probably gonna be starving. Like, oh gosh, let's eat. We haven't eaten all day. All I had was some chia pudding. So I feel like it's
what you said, that chia pudding.
Oh, I had some chia pudding. So I feel like the more that you're like mentally doing something else and not thinking about eating, like you're not just sitting around being bored, then you probably won't be that hungry as well.
another factor into choosing your eating window, I think that's a very good point. It's probably easier to choose to be fasting when you are busy. If that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's why, if your work schedule, like I said, when you're at work, is probably a good time to be fasting, because you're at work. You're not. I mean, now lunchtime that might be a little bit hard if people are eating around you. If you got to smell little whatever in the microwave and you can't eat. But if maybe at some point during your work, work routine, that might be a good time to fast because you're being busy.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in consideration. But what I was going to say is when you want to curb your hunger, right? Coffee and tea are really good, I have found, at curbing your hunger when you're not in a time that you can eat, but your stomach is like, we need something now. Now keep in mind, you're not supposed to be consuming calories, so you really should not be putting cream or sugar in either of these things.
We just lost 5 people. Hold on, come back. Hold on.
So I am talking black coffee or black tea or green tea, whatever. But by black, I mean no sugar or added cream. Right. But those, coffee especially, and I'm not a coffee person, is helpful at curbing your hunger. So I would, previously when I started fasting, in the morning, I would grab a cup of coffee and I'd drink that when I got to work. And again, it was not to stay awake. I'm not a coffee person. I'm not necessarily dependent on it, but it was to curb my appetite, because in that morning, when I was first starting, that's when it was hard. My body was like, you need to eat. People was bringing bagels and they got a popcorn machine at work. Why would you do that to me?
Just torture.
Donuts, like all of this stuff. So yeah, it was a little bit harder we had a toaster. People would toast their English muffins. It just made it really hard.
So I think, let's finish that thought.
I was just going to say that cup of black coffee helped curb my hunger during that those couple hours right before my eating window started were always the hardest. So that's when I would drink my black coffee, so like 8-ounce cup of black coffee, and then that would kind of hold me over for my last couple of hours. So black coffee, black tea.
Boom, black on black on black. First of all, your curls are popping. Now, to my point. I think a additional byproduct or an extra benefit to intermittent fasting is the development of your willpower. To be able to say, hey, I am fasting right now, to go to work and people are popping popcorn and you love popcorn. People are bringing in Krispy Kreme donuts and you love Krispy Kreme. And to say, no, I've decided I'm fasting. I've decided today I'm doing this for my own body, for my own health. That willpower, I think, translates to other things. It's a great thing, if you're in intermittent fasting, you bought the plan, or you haven't bought the plan, go to the link, playblackwallstreet.com, get your plan. It's free right now, so go get it. But it's not only going to help your health, but it's going to build up your willpower, and you can translate that into other dreams, goals, and aspirations that you have for your life. So I think that's a cool added benefit.
Absolutely. I think if you were to ask me why I fast, that is on the list. Because since a kid, everybody knows I always love food. Like, I will eat food. And before I was dancing, that's kind of why this whole thing works. I was dancing 6-7 days out of the week, and everybody used to say like, oh, you're lucky you danced, because if you didn't, you look a lot different just because of the amount that I ate. So for me, the willpower to not eat was a very big thing to conquer. And I think has translated into a lot of other areas of my life. So yes, I think that you're 100% correct. The willpower to not eat when everything else is telling you that it's time to eat, including your own body, is you might underestimate the power that will give you just inside to know that. And I'm not talking just once. You can't. You're not gonna get the benefits off of doing that just once. That's the start of it. But this is multiple times. This is months of fasting, months of saying, no, I'm good, no, I'm good, no, I'm good. You build that up, and that builds your confidence. It really does, to go out and do other things.
I agree.
And especially if you are feeling nervous. I gotta get this one out. If you are a little bit nervous about it, this is, again, I love food. I would never have thought. If you'd asked me as a kid if I would ever fast, I'd be like, why would I starve myself on purpose? I'm fast.
Yeah, I'm fast.
Why would I starve myself on purpose? Like, and then that's what a lot of people say right now. Like, oh, that sounds terrible. Why would I do that? It's so much more than just that. It's like, I feel like I can do anything now. What? I'm choosing not to eat.
You can do anything, Queen.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's just, especially if you are feeling nervous about it, if you're like, man, this is something that I cannot do, this is especially for you. Because once you conquer it, oh man, you're going to feel like, can nothing stop you.
Right. And I feel like it's all bent, like literally your body does not need 3 meals per day. You need nutrients. You can get that nutrients, and I think we'll go through how to get some really good nutrients really quickly. You can get a lot of nutrients in one good meal. So the fact that we think, oh, I need 3 meals a day, I need breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I need the coffee with the milk and sugar and the Krispy Kreme donuts and the Big Mac and I used to eat, y'all. So the fact that we can make that transition, again, will translate to other things in your life. We want you to live your best life, true health forever, which means you're living a lot. All right, so go get it.
We all say that we need, no, I need to eat, no, I need. You don't. You will die of sleep deprivation before you will die of not eating food, before you will die of starvation.
Right. And we've all had that's the crazy thing. So this is not on the game plan at all, but it came up. So it's crazy that you will die from sleep deprivation before you will die from hunger or food deprivation. But I've had an all-nighter where I've gotten no sleep.
Right.
But I've never done a 24-hour fast before. I've never even thought about doing a 24-hour fast before.
Like sleep is
that's crazy.
We sacrifice our sleep for anything, a TV show. Like easy.
I'll stay up a little bit more eating stuff.
But God forbid you try to tell someone they can't eat.
Huh. And I feel like it has something to do, and this is a huge tangent, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but eating releases usually good hormones and dopamine, and it's a pleasure to eat.
Right.
Especially good food. Like, it's pleasurable to the body, the mind. Whereas like sleep, we don't necessarily, I don't think, like get that same pleasure neuron by sleeping. Right. So it's like, oh, I'll watch this TV, I'll eat this food and lose sleep because I don't get the pleasure neurons from those things.
Right.
But so again, you're really trying to retrain your body, retrain your mind into thinking and putting your own health and your consciousness first over what your body perceives as pleasure. Just because it feels like pleasure doesn't mean it's actually good for you.
Yep.
All right, I'll get off my soapbox. So back to the schedule. Again, if y'all have questions, go ahead and put it inside the chat. We appreciate any direct questions, and we appreciate y'all being here. What should folks be trying to eat while they're fasting? And obviously, we're not going to determine you need to be eating this, but your suggestions on getting the best results while you're fasting, whether it's using your plan or using a different method, what should folks be eating?
Okay. So I have a tip that's going to answer that question.
So you're not going to answer the question?
I am. But I have one more tip that's really good that I wanted to share, but that answers this question. Okay. So you want to eat mainly plant-based foods because those have the nutrients that your body needs to do its thing. Okay, so if you are going to fast, make sure that when you are eating, you're giving your body what it needs. Because what you don't want to do is deprive your body of what it needs and then get to your eating window and continue depriving your body of what it needs. Okay? And what I mean is you can't eat all carbs, like refined carbs. You can't eat all pasta. You can't eat all rice and potato chips. Your body doesn't need that stuff. What your body needs is the fruits and vegetables. Get yourself a colorful plate of food. That's what you need when you're fasting. Because again, you are depriving your body already. So if you go into eating and you're not actually giving your body anything that it needs to do its thing, you're going to start seeing some very negative health effects. So if you start fasting and you start feeling just like, man, I'm feeling like crap, man, I'm still gaining weight, that's probably a good sign your body is still holding on to things because you're not giving it what it needs, right? In order for it to let go of what it doesn't need, you need to give it what it needs. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
So eat fruits and vegetables, plant-based foods. So your green leafy vegetables, your colorful berries.
Can you start to name stuff? Because I know personally, I used to eat what I thought were fruits and vegetables back in the day, and then I've learned over my journey that those didn't
French
really
fries,
count.
yeah, don't count.
Yeah, I used to eat French fries with ketchup, and I was like, oh, potato, tomato.
You literally said this to me when we met.
I'm in here. I used to have, my lettuce, a whole salad with lettuce. And I was like, all right, I got
like
lettuce.
Iceberg lettuce.
Yeah, regular. I'm good. It's green. So can you name not everything under the sun, but a few things that you think are accessible to folks that they should be eating as well?
I will start with dark leafy greens because I think as a health nerd who likes to research things, I mentioned this in a lot of videos, but when I try to type in okay, what is best for this? What is best for this? All the different health goals you can think of. Usually number one on the list is dark leafy green vegetables. So that is your spinach, your kale, your Swiss chard, your arugula, power greens mix that has all of those things. So your dark leafy vegetables, so iceberg lettuce is cool, but that does not have nearly as much nutritional content. The darker the leafy green, the better. And that's kind of a general trend. With berries, the same thing. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, the healthier the berry. Because it's got more antioxidants. So the colored pigments in foods are antioxidants themselves. So yes, dark leafy greens, berries, any type of berry is good for you. Strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, goji berries.
Goji.
All those are good for you. What else? Really, all the peppers. I love peppers. Peppers are pretty much in any type of.
So is it permissible in your health nerd vision for me to have a shrimp pasta with peppers, spinach, and then a side salad for dinner? Would you pass that and say, yeah, okay, that's cool? Or is that what would you add or take away?
I would use a plant-based noodle. So there's so many different, at this point, if you're using regular pasta, come on now. There's so many different substitutions now. So there's
health nerd alert. Health nerd alert.
There's lentil pasta, there's chickpea pasta, there's you can go with the physical zucchini noodles. But there are actual pastas. If it was easily accessible, I'd go grab a box. But I think we have lentil made pasta. So you cook it the same way, but instead of regular refined carbs, it's made of lentils.
And I'll attest, it doesn't taste bad.
Yeah.
You don't taste it, because if you're a real chef, you're gonna put some seasonings, you're gonna work it out so it's gonna taste good. So I know I was like, get the regular pasta. I'm not doing lentil pasta. But then we tried it and I was like,
you can't taste the difference. Cool. If you got a flavorful sauce on it, you won't taste the difference. So that's the first thing I would recommend. Okay. And then if you're, depends on, if that's a cheat meal, that's fine. I would consider that personally a cheat meal. Because of all of the sauce. Because when I'm thinking of the Cajun pasta you're thinking of is probably the Cajun pasta I'm thinking of, and that's a Cajun Alfredo sauce.
The real one.
Which the sauce is the culprit there, because it is butter, cheese, and heavy cream.
All right. So can you give us an example of maybe that's 2 meals that you would recommend that can either be bought or easily made and created?
Yeah. Mexican food is not surprisingly, is easy to make healthy if it's not already healthy, because it's so flavorful and they already incorporate the vegetables into their salsas, everything is already really incorporated into the diet itself. So I love a good taco salad or a taco bowl. So I will if I'm out on the go, Chipotle is my good to go thing. So I get a veggie bowl. So I like to make a bowl with rice. If you want, rice if you want. A lot of times I skip the rice and I just get a lot of beans, because legumes are another good thing that you'd want to consume because they're filling. They're high in protein, and yeah, they will keep you full for a couple of hours. So that's another trick of it. I would definitely include some beans, some lentils, something like that that'll keep you full. Some beans, some peppers, some lettuce or romaine lettuce, or whatchamacallit. They have a superfood salad now at Chipotle that's got spinach, it's got some kale, I think it's got some Swiss chard in it. But some greens. I will say lettuce. I'll put some greens on it. And then some guac. Ooh, got your healthy fats in there. Ooh, and some salsa.
Oh.
So yeah, that's my go-to. And I think a taco salad, if you eat meat, you can have a good, nice, healthy protein on there. Add your chicken, add your shrimp, add your fish, add your, I wouldn't necessarily recommend beef, but add your grass-fed beef on there. Yeah, I think that's one meal that I think whether making it here or whether I'm out and about, some type of like taco bowl or taco salad is a good meal.
Okay, and let's give one more for the sake of diversity and options. So we got taco salad.
Mm-hmm.
What's another meal that you would recommend?
Ooh, that Asian sesame salad.
Yeah, that is right.
That's a good one I would like to do. So I do greens. I incorporate the greens. Greens as the base. I put some chickpeas, some carrots, some purple cabbage, some onions, I do use a little wonton strips. That's my healthy, not my healthy, my guilty pleasure I put on there. And then salmon. So we put usually.
Someone said wonton strips are a guilty pleasure.
For that salad.
Wonton strips.
For the salad. For that salad. That's really the only thing about it that's not healthy. I have a long list of guilty pleasures, not all of them. See, salmon is the last thing we add onto that salad, and then a little bit of it's a sesame ginger dressing, and that's really flavorful. Love the dressing is low calorie, and it's just, I mean, you want to stay. I would personally stay away from the more like cream based dressings, so like the ranches and the Caesars are not as healthy, but any type of like oil based one is going to be healthier for you. So like, yeah, that sesame ginger dressing, and that's a go-to for us.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So my personal 2 cents is you don't necessarily have to go all the way to what she's saying right now. If this is your first like experience in health or experience in fasting, don't necessarily go from 0 to 100, because if you're used to eating a certain level and now you're eating chickpeas and carrots and moringa, your body might be like, your taste buds might be like,
moringa.
This
moringa.
don't taste. Oh, well, moringa is good for you too. You know what I'm saying? I know those stuff. So good job in taking the first step in fasting, and definitely make sure you work your way up or whatever it is to get this holisticness that the health nerd is on right now. Cool.
But this is, if you were asking me what I think you should be eating, it is 50% at least plant-based on your plate, whatever that means to you right now. So I think he's spot on. You do not want to go and try this new fasting method and completely change your diet, and your body's going to be like, your body and your mind is going to be like, what is happening? So what I would say, whatever you're eating right now, try to, if it's adding vegetables in, then that's fine. Just add, you're never going to go wrong with adding vegetables in. So add vegetables into what you're eating. If you can make some healthy substitutions in there, even better. But that's the first step, is add more vegetables in, so that you have a healthier food before you start taking away things. Because mentally, it's a lot harder to stick to something if you're thinking, I'm taking away, I'm cutting things out. If you're going from that mindset, it's going to be harder to stick to, rather than if you think, I'm just adding in more healthier things. So that would be kind of like my advice for anybody, really, whatever diet you follow. Add in more fruits and vegetables, more plant-based foods to whatever your current diet is, and you will be much better off. But I think if you are going to have a healthy meal, have it be that first one of the day. And that's because after depriving your body, you want to get it what it needs as quickly as possible. So that first meal for us is a smoothie, because in my opinion, that's the easiest way to get your nutrients in a pre-digested format. So that means your body doesn't have to do as much work to digest it, because it's already in almost like a liquid base. So it's just going straight to all the good things it needs to do in your body.
Do we have time to maybe go through what a smoothie would look like?
We do.
We do? Okay, so again, if y'all have questions, go ahead and put it inside the chat. Please make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to do a quick little ingredients test, I guess, for what's inside of our typical smoothies. Queen, take it away.
Test. We're not testing. We're gonna do it. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how we make our smoothies without actually blending it up. So I'm gonna show you all the good stuff. So if I recommend that either a smoothie or juice or something of that sort is the first thing that you eat, because again, it'll get you the nutrients you need as quickly as possible. So we normally add some frozen fruit first. So we have a Daybreak blend from Costco. It's got organic peaches, mangoes, strawberries, and pineapple. All right. So we're gonna add some of this at the bottom. Also going to add some organic blueberries. These are both frozen. I don't like adding ice to my smoothies, so I prefer to just add frozen.
And I love my smoothies when they're actually cold and they got that nice blend like Jamba Juice. Jamba Juice be coming for you.
And again, you don't have to use these exact fruits. This is just what we happen to have. Ooh, yeah, good toppings. Well, this is just what we happen to have in our freezer. But whatever type of fruits you like, you go and throw them in. We have some bananas too. Sometimes we throw them in there. Next step, the veggies. So consistently, always adding some type of dark leafy greens to our smoothies. So this is a power greens mix. It's got tender baby spinach, mizuna, whatever that is, chard, and I don't know if it's chard or shard. If someone wants to correct me, please feel free. And kale.
I dare you.
and kale. All right, so that's what's in this mix. So I normally do like the first half fruit, the last half, well, yeah, all greens. You will not taste it. With all that fruit, all that sugar, you're not gonna taste this. But this is liquid gold, or I think it's solid gold right now. It will be liquid gold. All right. So I put as much as I possibly can. I put these greens in there. All right. All right.
Yeah, take it away from me.
I'll keep going. Next, nuts and seeds. So nuts and seeds are good in omega-3s, high in omega-3s, and high in protein.
Boom. So, you see, you're still getting your protein in.
Common misconception that we need as much protein as we consume. Unused protein turns to fat. So unless you are
look, protein.
So we have some raw walnuts.
Great flavor for the smoothie too.
Really? I don't ever taste it.
See, trained palate.
I add just a little bit of walnuts. Nothing crazy. All right. And then flax seeds. So we have some brown flax seeds. Flax seeds I tend to add to every single smoothie. And then there are other seeds. We have chia seeds and hemp seeds that I'll add every now and then. But flax seeds are great for helping to lower blood pressure, which is why I consume them. So I'm about a teaspoon. I'm not measuring anything, as you could see. At this point, I just kind of do what feels right. But I do about a teaspoon for each of us, since this will be a smoothie for both of us. The protein and the superfood power. All right, so we're done with our solid foods. The next thing I add is our powdered foods. So first thing is we have our Organifi green juice.
Not a sponsor, but Organifi. We with it. What's up?
We're 100% here. Proudly supporting.
Yeah.
Organifi is basically this is the green juice, so it's gently fried superfood powder. Gently dried. Gosh.
I was like, word.
Dried superfood powder. So it's still. These are not extracted. These are just gently dried and put into a powder form. So it's still got everything in it. And so, sorry, I wanted to actually read what it has in it. This has got some wheatgrass,
moringa, ashwagandha.
Tolo. You was on it. Chlorella.
Shout out to the Secret Success Podcast. E.T., CJ, Carl, Jamal, King. You know we support and listen, bro.
And Sean Stevenson.
And Sean, well, he's not on that podcast.
No, but he's also an Organifi supporter. That's who I heard about it from.
Oh, gotcha.
That's who told them about it. Matcha green tea. We got some coconut, some ashwagandha, some organic beetroot, and turmeric. So all of that in here. So this is why I highly recommend this. Ups the game of your smoothies because you've got all of that and literally just this little tiny scoop. Okay, this is why these smoothies are so effective. So I'm just adding a teensy bit. You don't need a teensy bit.
Just a little bit. It's enough to make your body say, "Oh boy."
All right, so we got that, and then protein. I like to add some protein. I really haven't experimented with protein too much, to be honest. I found Sun Warrior and I stick with it because I like it. So this is their Classic Plus Vanilla Protein, and it is a brown rice protein, so it's vegan. And I mentioned that because I have tried whey protein, and that one did not digest as well for me personally. So if that's something that you start to notice, like, oh, okay, maybe I have a little bit of upset stomach after I drink my protein, you might want to start looking into either a brown rice or like I think they're like pea-based proteins you can find. Again, I don't even use the whole little scoop. I just use a little bit.
Again, because protein, if you don't use it, will turn into fat. So even though you put it in this nice healthy smoothie, if you put a big old scoop in there and then you don't end up working out, or you don't go for a run, or you don't burn it, then that will eventually turn to fat.
Correct. Thank you.
And it has good flavor too.
It does. It's vanilla. All right. So that's pretty much all of the foods we're going to add. Now we need our liquids. So I always add just a teensy bit of apple cider vinegar. It's good for the metabolism. Good to alkalize the body. Just a little bit. It has very strong taste, so you want to be careful how much you add. A
little bit. This does not taste or smell. Can you smell this? You smell that? It's not possible.
All right, and then liquid-wise, I like to use coconut milk. You can use whatever nut milk you like. I personally would recommend staying away from the fruit juices only because you do have so much fruit already, so you don't want to overload the sugar content of the drink. And a lot of that. Because I mean, sugar is a drug, honestly. If you want to be real, so went straight to it.
Sugar is a drug.
Sugar is a drug, and we do not need that much of it. So you want to be careful how much sugar you put in here. Everything. These are all natural sugars as of now. But a lot of juices have added sugar, which is not going to be natural sugar. So you don't want to take this beautiful smoothie and then add a whole bunch of stuff that you don't know what it is. So coconut milk is what I like to use.
Well.
And I really just use enough to cover the frozen fruit, and then I usually will fill the rest with water, just to get the texture you want. Okay. So Health and Nut. Wow, I cannot speak.
Health and Nut.
Health and Nut.
Health and Nut. It's new. Sponsored by The Health Nerd. Our new product. It's called Health and Nut.
Watch it come onto market. So coconut milk is good. Fats. This is what helps keep you full. So if you make smoothies right now and you notice that an hour after drinking your smoothie you are hungry again, you probably don't have the right stuff in it. So protein and fat, good ingredients to have into your smoothies that will actually make you feel satisfied, satiated, and full after
Satiated.
you.
Is that an SAT word?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Look it up. Basically satisfied. Makes you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be hungry again in a couple of hours. So if you find yourself getting hungry after you drink your smoothies, up it up a little bit. Try some protein powder or some nuts, something with some good amount of protein in it. And then try switching out your liquid to something with a little more fat in it. So like I said, a nut milk, coconut milk, those are all good options. But yeah. We don't have the blender necessarily right here ready, so we're not going to blend this up, but all I would do is fill the rest of this up with water and blend it up. Okay?
And that would be enough for 2.
Yes. I mean, you could, this is all great for you, so if you want to drink the full thing, there is not anything bad or wrong with that. But yes, we usually divide it up into 2 and have 2 servings.
That was good. Any last tips, words of encouragement for people who maybe they bought your plan last week and they're like, all right, cool. Day 1 is Monday, Sinclair, The Health Nerd. How should I get started? How should I get popping? Words of encouragement. Go ahead.
One last tip: your junk food, hide it, because you do not want to have it out on the counters, because especially during your fasting time, well, really at any point during your fasting times, you don't want it there taunting you, but especially during your eating times, it's going to be so much easier for you to be like, oh man, I'm hungry, let me just grab this. So if you notice, I don't know, you can't see, can you just turn to, there we go. I just wanted to show you.
Move.
You don't need to move. I just wanted to show you this section here. So these are all of our health foods. And we purposely keep these out because this is out and accessible to us. So when we're trying to snack, rather than having the potato chips, we don't actually have any potato chips, but rather than having chips or cookies or anything out and easily accessible, that's going to be what you first grab. So right now, instead, we have our cashews, we have our walnuts, we got all of our superfood stuff over here, so that if we're hungry, that's what we're seeing. And I've already witnessed pretty much every time he gets hungry, he goes and grabs these walnuts and grabs it. I like to keep the almonds out there. Almonds are my healthy snack that I like to grab. They're satiating again, like I'll eat a handful of almonds and then I feel satisfied. I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever craving I had is gone. So I would say don't do that to yourself. Don't put the Doritos right out on the counter and then have to walk out. No, don't do it. Don't do it. So put your healthy stuff out up front in the fridge. Whatever you organize your counter space, your cabinets, your fridge, so that your healthy stuff is first accessible, because that's going to most likely be what you grab. And I think my other kind of piece of advice is to just stick with it for, I would say, at least 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks before you call it quits. And then if my other thing is, maybe if you try to 16-8 and you just find like 16 hours is just too much, then just cut down to 15 or go to 14 and go down that way. Don't just do it for one day and be like, yeah, I was hungry, I got irritable, and I couldn't do it. Because like I said, that willpower you get from just being able to abstain from eating when you're hungry, it's going to change your life. So yeah, just stick with it. It will get easier. I promise it will get easier as you go. But stick with it. The hunger is just a feeling and it's all in your mind. If you go and get busy, once you feel that hunger, go find something to do. As soon as your mind is off of it, you'll notice your hunger will probably start to go away, because it is mental. So yeah, I think just really stick with it. Reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I don't see any more questions over here. So yeah, always willing to
reach out. Where can they reach out to? Either you or the True Health Forever. Where can they find help?
Well, on Instagram, again, at the Health Nerd, THEEE Health Nerd. So you can professionally slide into my DMs, ask me a question. Yeah.
Or also the True Health Forever. That's True Health, the number 4 ever on Instagram as well. So professionally slide into either one of those DMs, like, hey, I need help. Hey, I don't know what's happening. Hey, I don't know what to eat. The Health Nerd will help you out.
We also have a Facebook page for True Health Forever. I have a personal account. You're willing to message me on there too. But we have a True Health Forever Facebook group as well, our Facebook page. So if you're on there and you just have a quick question, or man, I'm struggling right now, looking for anybody else that's fasting, looking for a tip or looking for just support or whatever, feel free to go onto the Facebook page and we'll be there.
That's good. Okay, so we appreciate y'all tuning in and taking that first step or second step, third step. Don't know where you are on your journey, but we appreciate you rocking with us with fasting. We hope you stay true. We hope you stay healthy. And I'll say it one more time. We hope you stay true. Peace, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.